But one thing I did want to talk about, and I don't know how much we'll get into in this episode, it is part of this, and it's something that I think about a lot in regards to this topic. There's also this shift with what I think of as endless media. Now, what that really is something that really applies mostly to video games. I'm not sure it really applies to anything else the same way. Endless media to me is something like a Genshin Impact, Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, any of these games where it just goes on. I've always liked stories and I grew up with a lot of those story heavy games. And something I've noticed is when I talk to people who are a bit younger, a lot of them don't have as much experience with those games. So when I think about when I was in school, don't get me wrong, there was always certain genres of games that were very popular that weren't necessarily story heavy, like sports games or racing games or fighting games, for example. But there was always a good portion of people who were really into some level of either RPGs or some kind of action adventure game that had a story to it. Whereas now, there are people growing up who all they know is games like Minecraft and Roblox. It's also on the side of things where there's not necessarily a structured story of A, B, C, beginning, middle, end. And then also because a lot of kids today are not necessarily reading actual like books and reading stories and novels as much, you know, so it's like I kind of start wondering, where does the story telling, like, you know, where do they experience those stories from, if that makes sense? Because when I was like, say for example, 8, and I know not every 8-year-old was me, but I played, for example, like Knights of the Republic, and I remember being in school and there was a few other kids who played it. Again, something like Kingdom Hearts, look at how wacky that story is. There's not really a lot of things right now I can think of. I could be wrong, but I mean, if I was 10 right now, what am I playing that's coming out right now that's popular amongst young people my age? That's like a Kingdom Hearts. You get what I mean?
Yep.
If you even look at that game, the majority of the audience, and I can confidently say this as someone who makes Kingdom Hearts content and has analytics, the majority of the people who watch my videos are older than me. So the interest in that series is it's an aging audience. It's not, that's not saying there's no younger people who are interested, but I've noticed that a lot of these really story heavy, narrative heavy focused things seem to appeal to a certain generation of us that grew up with them. And it's not as much with the younger people because they're more getting into these, as I say, endless kind of medias that it might have a story or it might not, but it's kind of loose or it's not very heavy and it doesn't end.